Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Chapter 1: The Boy Who Lived in the Quiet Suburban Street of Privet Drive. An unusual gathering took place on a chilly November night. A tall, elderly man with a long silver beard and half-moon spectacles appeared out of nowhere. This was Albus Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. He was soon joined by a stern-looking woman named Minerva McGonagall, who had been watching the house all day in the form of a tabby cat. Lastly, a giant of a man named Rubeus Hagrid arrived on a flying motorcycle, carrying a small bundle. "Are you sure about this, Albus?" Professor McGonagall asked, eyeing the bundle. "It's the best place for him," Dumbledore replied solemnly. "He'll be famous in our world, a legend. It's better he grows up away from all that." The bundle contained a baby boy with a curious lightning-shaped scar on his forehead. This was Harry Potter, the only person to have ever survived the killing curse cast by the dark wizard Lord Voldemort. His parents, James and Lily Potter, had been murdered that very night. But somehow Harry had survived, and Voldemort had vanished. Dumbledore placed baby Harry on the doorstep of number 4, Privet Drive, the home of Harry's only living relatives, the Dursleys. With a letter explaining the situation, the three magical beings departed, leaving Harry to an uncertain future. Chapter 2: The Vanishing Glass. Nearly 10 years had passed since that fateful night. Harry Potter, now almost 11, lived a miserable life with the Dursleys. His Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Cousin Dudley treated him like an unwanted house guest at best, and a servant at worst. Harry slept in the cupboard under the stairs, wore Dudley's oversized hand-me-downs, and was generally neglected and bullied. On Dudley's birthday, the Dursleys reluctantly took Harry along to the zoo when Mrs. Fig, their usual babysitter, was unavailable. At the reptile house, Harry found himself able to communicate with a boa constrictor. In his excitement, he accidentally made the glass of the enclosure vanish, setting the snake free and causing panic among the visitors. This incident resulted in Harry being locked in his cupboard for weeks, pondering over the strange occurrences that seemed to follow him. He couldn't explain how he'd ended up on the school roof while running from Dudley's gang, or how his hair had grown back overnight after a particularly bad haircut from Aunt Petunia. Little did Harry know, his life was about to change dramatically. Chapter 3: The Letters from No One. As summer approached, Harry began receiving mysterious letters, addressed to him in green ink. The first one was addressed so precisely it even mentioned his cupboard under the stairs. Uncle Vernon, looking pale and worried, tore up the letter before Harry could read it. More letters arrived each day, and Uncle Vernon's attempts to stop them grew increasingly desperate. He nailed up the mail slot shredded letters that were delivered with the eggs, and even tried to outwit the mysterious sender by having the family stay in a hotel. But the letters kept coming, delivered in increasingly bizarre ways. Inside eggs, through the chimney, and even rolled up inside each of the 24 eggs delivered to their hotel room. Finally, on Sunday, when Uncle Vernon was sure no post would be delivered, hundreds of letters came shooting out of the fireplace. In a fit of manic desperation, Uncle Vernon bundled the family into the car and drove them to a remote shack on a rock in the sea, certain that they couldn't be found there. As Harry lay on the floor of the shack, watching Dudley's watch count down to his 11th birthday, he had no idea that his life was about to change forever. Chapter 4: The Keeper of the Keys. As the clock struck midnight, marking Harry's 11th birthday, a tremendous boom echoed through the shack. Someone was outside, knocking to come in. The door crashed open, revealing a giant of a man with wild, tangled hair and beard. This was Rubeus Hagrid, keeper of keys and grounds at Hogwarts. "Last time I saw you, you was only a baby," Hagrid said, looking at Harry. "You'd look a lot like your dad, but you've got your mom's eyes." Hagrid was shocked to discover that Harry knew nothing about his parents, his past, or the magical world. In a fit of anger at the Dursleys for keeping Harry in the dark, Hagrid revealed the truth. "Harry, you're a wizard." He explained about Hogwarts, about Harry's parents being magical, and about the dark wizard, Voldemort, who had murdered them. Harry learned that his parents hadn't died in a car crash, as he'd been told, but were killed by Voldemort. Somehow, when Voldemort had tried to kill baby Harry, the curse had backfired, leaving Harry with his lightning scar and Voldemort powerless. Despite Uncle Vernon's protests, Hagrid gave Harry his Hogwarts acceptance letter. For the first time in his life, Harry felt a sense of belonging. He was a wizard, and he was going to a school where he could learn magic. Chapter 5: Diagon Alley. The next day, Hagrid took Harry to London to buy his school supplies. They entered the Leaky Cauldron, a shabby pub that served as the gateway between the Muggle world and the Wizarding world. There, Harry first experienced his fame in the Wizarding world, as patrons recognized him and clamored to shake his hand. Behind the pub, Hagrid tapped a certain brick in the wall, opening up an archway to Diagon Alley, a cobblestone street lined with the most fascinating shops Harry had ever seen. There were shops selling robes, telescopes, and strange silver instruments. Windows stacked with barrels of bat spleens and eel's eyes, tottering piles of spell books, quills, and rolls of parchment, potion bottles, globes of the moon. Their first stop was Gringotts, the wizarding bank run by goblins. Harry was amazed to learn he had a small fortune left to him by his parents. Hagrid also retrieved a small, grubby package from another vault on Dumbledore's orders. They visited various shops to buy Harry's school supplies: robes from Madame Malkin's, books from Flourish and Blots, a cauldron, potion ingredients, and more. At Ollivander's, Harry finally got his wand, Holly and Phoenix feather, 11 inches. Mr. Ollivander revealed that the Phoenix who gave the feather for Harry's wand gave only one other, the one in Voldemort's wand. Lastly, Hagrid bought Harry a beautiful snowy owl as a birthday present. Harry named her Hedwig. As they left Diagon Alley, Harry's head was spinning with all he had learned and seen. He was entering a new world, and he couldn't wait for it to begin. Chapter 6: The Journey from Platform 9 3/4. On September 1st, Harry made his way to King's Cross Station to catch the Hogwarts Express. There was just one problem: he couldn't find Platform 9 3/4. Fortunately, he overheard a family of redheads talking about muggles and followed them. The mother, Mrs. Weasley, kindly showed Harry how to get onto the platform. By walking straight through the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. On the train, Harry met Ron Weasley, the youngest son of the family he'd followed. They quickly became friends, sharing stories and sweets from the trolley. They were joined in their compartment by Hermione Granger, a bossy know-it-all, and Neville Longbottom, a forgetful boy looking for his lost toad. Harry also had his first encounter with Draco Malfoy, a pale boy with a sneering face, who offered to help Harry make the right sort of friends. Harry, disliking Malfoy's attitude, declined. As the journey progressed, Harry grew both excited and nervous about what lay ahead at Hogwarts. Chapter 7: The Sorting Hat. Upon arriving at Hogwarts, the first-year students were led by Hagrid to a fleet of small boats that carried them across the lake to the castle. The sight of Hogwarts, with its many turrets and towers, left them awestruck. Inside, they were greeted by Professor McGonagall, who explained about the 4 houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, and the importance of the house system at Hogwarts. In the Great Hall, the sorting ceremony began. Each student had to put on the sorting hat, which would decide which house they belonged in. Harry, nervous about where he might be placed, was relieved when the hat called out Gryffindor for him. Ron also joined Gryffindor, while Hermione, to Ron's dismay, was sorted into Gryffindor as well. During the welcome feast, Harry met the Hogwarts ghosts and got his first glimpse of the teachers, including the hook-nosed, grassy-haired potions master, Severus Snape, who seemed to dislike Harry on sight. As Harry went to bed that night in his 4-poster bed in Gryffindor Tower, he felt truly at home for the first time in his life.